Hey friends, Sean from Draft Therapy here, and on today's review for you, anybody around here lose a goat? Anybody? Cabra Perdida is an 11.7% barrel-aged Imperial cream stout brewed with blueberries from Greenbush Brewing Company in Sawyer, Michigan. Ever since my first taste of Brother Benjamin, Greenbush has been on my radar, and they make some tasty beers, but I haven't had too many of their stouts. Now, the last stout I had from Greenbush was Mr. Hyde Coffee Stout, and I really enjoyed it. In fact, it was probably one of the most underrated beers I had in 2019, so I'm looking forward to trying Cabra Perdida today, which coincidentally translates to Lost Goat. So let's take a look at the label. We'll get it into a glass, but first I'd like to thank my executive producers, Ryan Berry, Rob Santana, Eric Latowski, Brian Kramer, and Zach for helping bring this review to you today. If you'd like to become a producer, help out the channel, or maybe just buy me a beer, take a look at my Patreon at patreon.com/draft_therapy, where you can get early access to these videos and a few other special perks available only to patrons. So we're going to take a look at the label. It's pretty simple. There's not a whole lot going on, but that's what I like about Greenbush's labels. They're always they're not necessarily simple, they're understated, they're very straightforward, but I love the graphical style that they have on here. We're looking at a gradient kind of, I guess it's not really a gradient, but it's a dark greenish gray colored label. In white, it says Cabra Perdida, barrel-aged Imperial cream stout brewed with blueberries, and it tells you right here, alcohol is 11.7% by volume. By Greenbush Brewing Company, it's 12 fluid ounces. And then on the side, it says, here at Greenbush, we've always known that good ideas often start over beer. We also know that there's nothing like taking a good idea too far. You're reading this, so you must be one of us. Enjoy the first step in taking your own idea too far. Has their information here, Sawyer, Michigan, 49125, greenbushbrewing.com. Good beer wins. This was bottled on 11, it looks like 11/10/2020, could have been 11/13. This is a barrel-aged stout. I'm really not worried about the date at all, though. And then it has the government warning and all the deposit information. The bottle cap is the Greenbush cap. We're going to use a large snifter glass to try this one out, and I get to use my handy-dandy bottle opener because we don't get to use this so much anymore because there's not so much stuff put out in bottles. I don't think Greenbush does any cans. So let's go ahead and put a nose on this. I'm going to open this up. We'll put a nose on it. We'll get it into the glass. Love cracking bottles and seeing that vapor kind of come out of the top of the bottle. Put a nose on it. You get that, there is a bit of a bourbon barrel smell, like an oaky barrel smell, but there is a really subtle kind of wafting of blueberries, and that makes me excited. Let's go ahead and pour this. My dark out of the bottle, it's a little bit of a cola colored, not super dark, not like an oil color, but it has a bit of a kind of a cola looking coloration as it poured out through. We're looking at about a finger worth of head, a tan head, maybe a little bit dark tan, maybe borderline kind of creamy coffee looking colored head. And we're going to hold that up. The bubbles are dissipating pretty quickly. We're going to hold that up. We have, I think I may have mentioned this, about a half a finger, super opaque, not seeing through that. There's a little bit of a crimson kind of color on the bottom of the bulb there. Let's go ahead and put a nose on the glass. Wow. Yeah, big bourbon notes. Bit of an oaky kind of quality on the nose. Go ahead and try it out. And the head at this point is pretty much disappeared, but it's kind of, got a nice lacing on it. So go ahead and try it out. Cheers. Woo! 11.7%, and you can taste it. It has there's a bourbon barrel characteristic, but it's not overpowering. It's not in your face. It is definitely there, and that's kind of where the woo for me came from. That was my reaction. The mouthfeel is just kind of medium. It's not syrupy, it's not light, it's not even heavy. It's just a nice kind of even medium kind of quality, and it has a nice coating on your tongue. Again, not being cloying, not being something that sticks on your tongue, not being syrupy, not being something that you're kind of, like smacking your mouth to kind of get down. It's just a nice, smooth, medium mouthfeel. Flavor-wise, it actually, I was going to say it's a cream stout. It does have a creamy mouthfeel as well. It has a nice kind of creamy quality to it. It kind of feels like it's just rolling over your tongue. Like, it doesn't feel like it's sticking on your tongue. It just feels like it's this creamy wash just rolling over your tongue. Big, big notes of kind of oak. Got a nice oaky kind of bourbon barrel flavor. It has these kind of I don't know, it has, I want to say like high points, but it has these kind of pokes of bourbon kind of alcohol flavoring, or, you know, alcohol kind of bite to it, but it's not, again, not overpowering. And in that kind of initial taste, not so much in the aftertaste, but in the initial taste where you get that kind of oakiness, that bourbon kind of quality that rolls over, you also get this high point, these kind of like highlights of blueberries. You know, it's not, I wouldn't drink this necessarily and think like, oh, this is a blueberry beer. It just has these notes of blueberry that really complement, again, they're really nice complements to that oakiness, to the bourbon kind of characteristic that's in there as well, that alcohol kind of bite. The blueberry just adds to that. It's not something that you can point to immediately and say, oh, that's blueberry, because it's mixed so well in with that oak barrel with those bourbon notes. The blueberry adds to the sweetness of the bourbon, to the sweetness of the molasses that's in there. And then on the swallow, you get a little bit of a vanilla kind of quality, a little bit of vanilla, a little tiny hint of a kind of roasted chocolatey kind of note in there, and then a little bit more of the blueberry in there as well. Again, it's not the blueberry, you know, they say it's brewed with blueberries. It's not, the blueberry isn't something in there, again, it's not overpowering. It's not something that you can point to immediately and say, oh, that's blueberry, but it just kind of triggers, fires those little synapses in your brain that make you think about the blueberry. Like I said, Mr. Hyde was one of my favorite stouts of last year, and this one, you know, it's still, I'm recording this, you might not see it in 2020, but it's still 2020 when I'm drinking this. This would fall into still a really nice 2020 stout released this year. You know, if this is something that you could pick up, if you're somebody that would appreciates kind of those bourbon notes, those oaky notes, but also likes those, you know, blueberry kind of qualities. Again, that vanilla's in there that's really just subtle, but it's in there, and it's on the follow-up, it's on the aftertaste. For me, Greenbush has yet to disappoint. Again, I think they don't do so many stouts. They do a lot of IPAs, and I think they're probably known more for their IPAs, but and of course, Distorter is one of their well-known porters. I just really enjoy when they do a stout, because I feel like, you know, it's maybe a muscle they don't get to exercise very often, or, you know, maybe they do and I just don't see it, but I always enjoy the approach that they have to it, because it might not necessarily, you know, it's not something that you don't think of them as being a place that can do good stouts, because they do so many IPAs, but when they do a stout, for me, I feel like it's always one that gets me excited and always has something to offer and to bring to the table. All right, friends, that has been Cabra Perdida from Greenbush Brewing in Sawyer, Michigan. Have you had this beer? Do you have a favorite from Greenbush, or do you have a favorite stout that's flavored with some kind of fruit? Let me know in the comments down below while you're down there. If you like beer, you might want to subscribe and click that bell, because I'm here talking about beer twice a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays. It's all for free for viewers just like you, and you might miss your newest favorite if you're not subscribed and getting those notifications. So until next time, I'm Sean from Draft Therapy. Thanks for stopping by. Remember, drink craft beer, support your local breweries wherever they are, and most importantly, don't forget to treat yourself to a little draft therapy. Thanks for stopping by, and thanks for watching. Cheers.